Welcome to Storytime with Elo. The Nala Trilogy, Episode 1, The Right Thing. Nairobi pulsed beneath the late afternoon sun, restless and alive. Matutus rattled past, their horns sharp and insistent, painted with wild colors and faces of pop stars. Hawkers called out in rapid bursts, waving packets of roasted groundnuts, belts, and knockoff sunglasses at anyone who made eye contact. The air carried a mix of roasted maize, exhaust, and the metallic tang left behind by a light drizzle. Nala Mwende threaded her way along Kenyatta Avenue with measured steps, her heels sharp against the pavement. She carried herself with a deliberate grace, her back straight, her chin high, as though the chaos of the city would never dare touch her. Her cocoa-toned skin caught the glow of the dipping sun, her braids pulled into a tight, high bun that sharpened her features into something elegant, even untouchable. From the outside, Nala was everything a woman was supposed to be: ambitious, disciplined, in control. 28 years old, law degree in her pocket, internship at a respected firm, fiance with a future so stable and polished, her parents boasted about him to neighbors. She had built her life like a meticulously balanced argument: logical, tidy, correct. But beneath that veneer, something restless lived inside her. For years, she had been the girl who always did the right thing, studying late into the night while her friends were out dancing, saying no to wild detours, standing by David through the grueling years of med school. She had given so much of herself to duty, to responsibility, to what was expected, that she sometimes wondered what was left for her. David Otieno, her fiance, he was kind, dependable, adored by her family. He was the very definition of a good man. And she loved him in a steady, careful way. Yet love with David was like the Nairobi traffic on a Monday morning: predictable, unmoving, a line of cars that stretched forever without surprise. Nala and David shared a modest apartment on State House Road. It was close enough to the hospital for David to run back between shifts, and spacious enough for Nala to carve out a study corner with her law books. Their families had never been told. They wouldn't have approved. Her mother once said cohabiting before marriage was a curse you invite yourself. David's parents were equally old fashioned, but they had been together 5 years, engaged for one, and practicality had quietly won. On the surface, their life was neat: two mugs hanging on hooks in the kitchen, a soft blue throw on the couch, a small balcony where they sometimes drank tea together at night. It was safe, predictable, but lately, safe felt suffocating. The thought was dangerous, and she knew it. So she buried it beneath the rhythms of her heels and the curve of her practiced smile. At Nala's parental home, the air always smelled faintly of boiled maize and bleach. Her mother insisted on scrubbing every corner until the house gleamed, as though cleanliness alone could ward off misfortune. Mama Mwende was a woman with opinions as sharp as her cheekbones, firm, practical, the kind of mother who saw sacrifice as a badge of honor. To her, David was not just a man. He was proof that all her years of labor, saving, and praying had borne fruit. Eh, Nala, Mama said one evening, adjusting the scarf tied around her head as she stirred a pot on the stove. That man will make you a doctor's wife. Do you know what that means? Respect, security, a name in society. You are blessed, my daughter. Blessed. The word hung heavy in the kitchen, caught between the steam and the clatter of the wooden spoon. Her father, Baba Mwende, was different. Where Mama sharpened, Baba softened. He was tall, slightly stooped now, his palms calloused from years of factory shifts. He had the gentlest eyes Nala had ever known, but they carried expectations too: quiet, heavy ones. Your mother is right, he said from his chair, folding the day's newspaper. I see how David looks at you. He is steady. A man must be steady, Nala. The rest comes and goes, but steadiness lasts. She smiled dutifully, nodding at the right times, but inside, something coiled tighter. Being an only child meant there was no one else to absorb the dreams her parents pinned on her. No one else to distract them, to divide the weight. It was all on her shoulders. The hope of comfort in their old age, the promise of respectability, the pride of having raised a daughter who chose wisely. And choosing wisely, of course, meant David. David, who brought her mother pineapples after his hospital shifts. David, who helped her father carry buckets of water when the taps ran dry. David, who sat in their living room with such ease it felt as if he had always belonged to them. Nala watched it all with a careful smile, folding laundry as her mother praised him, listening as her father marveled at his discipline. They saw a future of certainty, but she sometimes saw a cage, painted in the warm colors of approval. If her parents were the voice of duty, Miriam was the voice of mischief. They had met in law school, thrown together in a study group. When Nala lived by color coded notes and late nights at the library, Miriam breezed in with braids dyed honey blonde, oversized earrings, and a laugh that could rattle the walls. She had a sharp wit, a habit of skipping classes to chase networking opportunities, and a knack for coaxing Nala out of her rigid shell. One Saturday afternoon, they sat at a cafe in Kilimani, the clatter of cups and smell of spiced tea swirling around them. Miriam sipped her cappuccino and leaned back, eyes dancing. So, she said, drawing out the word, how's life with Nairobi's most eligible doctor to be? Are we still swooning at bedtime stories about anatomy? Nala rolled her eyes, stirring her tea. David is good, good, Miriam repeated. Good is how you describe tea that's lukewarm or a dress that doesn't itch. You've been with him 5 years, Nala. I want fireworks, not good. You don't understand, Nala countered. He's steady, he cares, my parents adore him. You know, that matters. Of course it matters, Miriam said, waving her spoon. But since when is marriage supposed to be a group project with your parents? You're the one who has to wake up next to him forever. She leaned forward, lowering her voice. And honestly, you sound bored. Nala bristled, though the word struck a little too close. I'm not bored. I'm just focused. Law is demanding. Life is demanding. Miriam smirked, unbothered. Focused is fine, but don't confuse sacrifice with happiness. You deserve both. She took another sip, then added slyly. Besides, if a fine, dangerous stranger walked in right now and looked at you like you were oxygen, would you still call David good? Nala didn't reply. She only smiled faintly, pushing her spoon through her tea. A few days after her coffee with Miriam, David came home carrying a bag of groceries, his tie loosened after a long hospital shift. He smelled faintly of antiseptic and cologne, a combination that had become his signature. He kissed her cheek in passing and began unloading vegetables onto the counter. We're having company tomorrow, he said matter of factly, handing her a bunch of spinach. Company? She asked, raising a brow. Jabari. His face brightened. You've heard me talk about him since forever. My best friend? He's finally back from the UK. I can't wait for you to meet him. Nala nodded, stirring a pot on the stove. David had told her stories of his childhood friend many times. Football matches that stretched past sunset, wild teenage escapades, promises of brotherhood sealed long ago. To Nala, Jabari had always been a character in David's past, nothing more. The following evening, Nala set the table, adjusting the cutlery twice, though it hardly needed it. She wore a simple black dress, her hair pulled into a neat bun. David moved around the kitchen, humming under his breath, happier than she had seen him in weeks. When the doorbell rang, David's grin spread wide. He hurried to open it, and there he was. Jabari stepped into the room with a presence that seemed to shift the air itself. He was taller than she expected, broad-shouldered, his chocolate-toned skin gleaming under the light. His eyes, dark, intense, lingered on her just a second too long before he broke into a grin and embraced David in a clap of brotherhood. "Look at you," David laughed, holding him at arm's length. "The same troublemaker, just in a suit now." They both chuckled, their bond effortless, old as time. Nala smiled politely, offering a hand when David introduced them. "This is Nala," David said proudly. "My fiancée." A hand slid into Jabari's. His grip was warm, firm, deliberate. Their eyes met, and something sharp shot through her chest. Unexpected, unsettling. "Finally," Jabari said, his voice smooth, low, threaded with Swahili warmth. "The woman who's tamed him." His lips curved, not quite a smile, not quite a tease. Dinner began politely enough. David spoke animatedly about rotations and exams, his hands moving as he told stories from the ward. Jabari listened, interjecting with questions, but every so often his gaze drifted back to Nala. She felt it like a touch, even when she focused on her plate. At one point, she rose to fetch more water from the kitchen. When she returned, Jabari's eyes followed her movements with quiet intensity. She ignored it, but her pulse betrayed her. After dinner, the three of them stepped out to the balcony. The city stretched beneath them, glittering and damp from a light drizzle. Horns blared faintly from below, the night thick with the scent of rain on asphalt. David excused himself to make a call, leaving them in the cool night air. For a moment, silence reigned. Then Jabari spoke. "You always seem perfect," he said quietly, leaning on the railing. "Even now, when you're just standing there. But I wonder," his eyes caught hers, "do you ever let yourself breathe?" Her lips parted, but no sound came. She turned toward the lights of the city, her hands tightening on the railing. No one had ever asked her that. Before she could reply, David returned, cheerful and oblivious, and the moment dissolved. But it lingered, etched into her skin. Later that night, long after David had left for the hospital, Nala sat in her bedroom staring at her phone. A message had appeared. "Let's meet. Just the two of us. Jabari." Her pulse pounded. She set the phone down, then picked it up again. The words glowed on the screen, daring her. A hand trembled with the weight of one choice.